from Bushwhack.
Live from the Bushwhack studio.
Well, it actually started, well, of course, everybody's watched it on TV and everything else, but back at the SCI convention in 2024, me and my buddy Rodney, we went around looking for, we wanted a brown bear hunt actually. Talked to a bunch of different outfitters and found you out of a bunch and felt the most comfortable, not knowing, never been hunting in Alaska before. So we got that sense of comfort and that, you've done it before, the experience is there. So we decided to actually schedule a brown bear hunt for the spring of 2026. And then about a month after the SCI convention, I was sitting at my desk and I got an email from Bushwhack that said deposit for a grizzly bear hunt for 2025. And I was like, well, maybe they just messed this up. Yeah. And about that time, I got a text from Rodney that said, hey, be on the lookout for a deposit for a grizzly bear hunt. Yeah, he says, maybe it'll be good prep for the brown bear hunt. Yeah. And actually, so that was the start of the grizzly bear hunt. Never been hunting in Alaska before, always wanted to. Actually kind of started, back in West Virginia on whitetails, turkeys, things that we have. And just slowly started getting a little bit more into other things. And Alaska's always been the top of the goal. Just started expanding a little bit farther and farther from a home base, and now we're here.
Now you've reached the end of your pilgrimage,
right.
Where everybody wants to go. Well, that's great. What are some things that you didn't expect that next time you'll be ready for, or some gear, or maybe like whatever you did to prepare for your hunt?
Well, actually, talking to you guys was mostly how we did it. You guys from the prod had the gear list, have everything put together. There's plenty of videos of you guys out there and what you see everybody has, and you guys filled those holes. I mean, I think gear-wise, I was ready to go.
The weather was pretty gnarly on this one.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you expected?
Well, I left that open because, you hear about Alaska, it can change in 5 minutes. Yeah. And I think sometimes it changed in 2 minutes on us out there. Yeah. We had everything from hail to 70-degree beach weather. I mean, all in the same day. So it was interesting for sure.
New spot for me. I'd never hunted in the spot, so it's always cool to see new country. And so I was anxious to get out there and see if the bears are moving. Things were greening up, and
I mean, what are you looking for in the weather and in the environment when you're guiding?
Yeah, well, it seems like these bears really, there's not a whole lot of food this time of year. So it seems like any little patches of green, fresh shoots shooting up, they're keying in on those for food. Just any grass, we got like the skunk cabbage and wild celery and stuff they eat up. And so there's a couple spots of that ended up being kind of where we killed this bear. And this spring is when they rut, so you get some of these boars starting to move. He didn't stop moving.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, you guys have been like hunting for 3 days and didn't see a bear yet. Take us from day one.
All right. Well, we'll give it a little recap. This is day 3. Day 1 was flew in on Monday. Didn't hunt. Tuesday we had a little fog in the morning. Got out late morning. Got to see some critters. Saw a couple moose, maybe like a dozen caribou, but no targeted species of bears. Day 2 we spent in the tent. It was might have been gusts up to like 70 miles per hour. It was pretty rough. Day 3 we see blue skies. Day 3 actually started with it was still a little windy, but the rain was gone, and I think all of us wanted out of the tent. So we got up early, got a breakfast, and got up on the glassing knob. And of course, caribou are moving through all the time. We had a couple resident moose that seemed to stick around about every day. And then later that morning, I'm sitting by my rock. It kind of protected me from the wind. And Nate comes over and he's like, I see a bear. So then it's where, first time, haven't seen one, and you're looking over some vast land. For us back home, 200-300 yards, that's a long shot. Here, 200 or 300 yards is just right there over the hill, and you're looking miles out there. So I had no idea where it kind of was, and this thing was actually feeding down the drainage that we were watching, and you can tell he's a good bear. He had to waddle. He was definitely had his mind on what he was going to do, and he was just feeding right down to us. We got off the glassing knob. We got in really good position. We had the greenest grass patch right across from us. He was just feeding down in those. I thought, well, he's just going to work his way on down in here, and it's going to work textbook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then about 350 yards, he got another idea, and just kind of turned around, up the hill, and over the mountain, out of my life. I'm like, oh wow, what happened? Everything was working out so good. But
What's your take on that behavior, Nate? As a guy
Man, bears are unpredictable. They just do bear things, and it wouldn't have surprised me if he walked up the mountain and turned around and just came right back down. And so, but yeah, it was like almost too good to be true. We saw it. It was pretty close. Only a quarter mile down there. It's like, oh man, this is too easy almost.
You walked out of your life.
yeah, he did.
So wind was perfect, it
didn't
was
wake
good. Yeah, we knew we didn't spook it and never like ran or anything. So figured he might stick around.
Stayed up there the rest of the day. Like I say, it was still windy.
Yeah.
And then the start of day 4, actually, the weather just kept getting a little bit better, we thought. Mm-hmm. And then we had the 4 seasons on day 4 of weather.
Oh.
We woke up, it was probably the chilliest morning. It was kind of low mid 30s. Seemed to warm up pretty good once the sun came up. And then we just started watching the storms come in. From the valley. I think the first one had a little bit of hell with it.
Wow.
And probably 30-40 mile per hour winds right in our face. And then it got sunny and it got nice, and we were all taking off our layers, enjoying the warm weather, watching the caribou. We had 2 bull moose that came up in that were kind of out in the big valley.
How did you deal with the elements gear-wise? What were you wearing, and then how did you kind of combat that?
I pretty much had a base layer, and then my hunting clothes, and then as extra, I always carried a puffy pants, puffy jacket, rain pants, rain jacket. And that was kind of take it off depending on what the elements were going on. But good gear is key.
And then what happened?
It was getting about dinner time, and we've been just eating up on the Spotting Hill. So I asked Jonah to go cook up a little burger and bring a couple bag meals back to the Spotting Hill. So we were doing that, boiling some more. I think we'd just poured our water in our meals and kind of getting ready to eat them. And I was just kind of glanced around out of the corner of my eye, saw something out there, and threw the binos up and saw it was a bear. Nice. So there's a bear. And so we were like, turn everything off and let's switch gears here. Andy's like, well, dinner's going to have to wait, boys. And so actually we kind of wolfed a little bit down, and
Yeah.
because we were just watching, it was starting to kind of walk away too. We were kind of kicking ourselves that it must have walked, pretty close range from us. It come up the creek valley, and
Yeah.
so we kind of were like, oh crap, did we just blow it? And let this thing walk by as we're cooking dinner, and looking off the downwind side.
30
and,
seconds you're not paying.
Yeah.
To the mountain.
So it walked up the mountain quite a ways, maybe a quarter of the ways up there, to where we were starting to kind of lose it in the alders a bit. And so I just kept, kind of like the one the day before. You never know what they're going to do. They might bed down, they might start feeding on something. And so it got up there and lost it in some alders, and then it turned around and just started coming right back down, and it came on a string. So it came down to that same creek bottom, and there's maybe like a 20-foot bluff, and that's southwest facing, and that's where that nice green stuff was starting to pop up. And it got down in there right in the creek bottom, and was just started feeding on that. And we'd close the distance maybe, I don't know, 300-400 yards at that point, quarter mile or so, and got down and got into position, same exact spot we were the day before on that other bear.
Yeah, the heartbreaker bear.
Yeah, the heartbreaker. And so we get in a little closer to where it's going to be about 300 yards away again, and we're poking around, didn't see it for about 10 minutes, and thinking, well, it was kind of following the same trail as those moose. Those moose got its wind and kind of crossed the creek and went out of there. It was kind of following the same trail as those, and we thought, well, maybe it's gonna keep doing that, cross the creek and follow their trail. So we were kind of looking that way too, and seeing if it was gonna pop out. And eventually it did. It came right where we wanted it to. Popped out and was just feeding along on that green grass, but it was just perfect. We weren't going to rush it. We didn't have a great rest. Andy had a nice tripod with a attachment to mount his rifle on that, so that was good. But still pretty, far shot for that setup. So
that's pretty far.
And it was coming right to us. There's like no reason to rush it and poke it out there. So he just kept feeding to a couple hundred yards, and kind of decided that 200 yards whenever he's broadside and stopped. We'll
yeah. And Andy, the moment of truth, how'd that play out? Because at that point, Nate did his job, and you're in it. So.
It's on it. Well, we were actually, he got in about 180 yards. That's kind of right directly across from us, which out here, it looks half that distance. At first, especially not being used to these big wide open areas. I'm glad he had a rangefinder, because I was always, it's always farther than what I thought it was, for sure. But we actually knew that grass patch was about 180 yards from us, and he fed right into it. He was broadside, and he had no idea we were in his world at all. He was just doing his thing, and glad it wasn't a defensive situation, but the actual first shot was a misfire. The firing pin hit the shell, and no noise.
Worst nightmare.
Right?
left it
Exactly.
in the primer, and just didn't.
Just didn't fire. So, kind of rolled that one out, didn't panic, because he had no idea. The wind was strong enough that he didn't hear anything. There was no noise that he could think it was us. So we settled right back in. He was still over there feeding, got another one in, and this time you're just like, let's hope this one goes off, right? So I let Nate know that, hey, I'm down to 2 now, type of situation here. You be ready. So broadside, like you said, I was locked in on a tripod. That thing's really steady.
And what are you shooting?
I'm shooting actually a Weatherby 338 RPM. It's 250 grain Barnes.
TSX.
Yeah, TSX. Great bullets.
Yeah.
And first shot, just Nate was saying, his first one, make it count.
Yeah.
The rest of the gun, just get it in him. Right. So that first shot, it was right on him. I felt good, and I hunted with a suppressor, and you just heard it. You just it was solid on him.
There's one jump. Let me get him on the next one off the hill. There we go. You're out, right? Yes, sir. Come out.
And, after that, high five started, the hooping and hollering, excited, because we were out there only for 4 days, but we went through a lot in 4 days.
Good job. Thank you, Nate.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, that was a 4 days that was not.
4
I mean,
days.
because the amount of sleep that you guys had, and just the daylight hours, and and not only that, but the weather that you guys had to deal with for 4 straight days.
Well, this is a little bit late on day 4 for an update, but here it is. It has been one heck of a day. Started off probably 30 degrees, maybe 35. It was awful chilly this morning. Got up, the wind was actually blowing a different direction. Actually still good for our spot. Had a couple storms, held on us on the first storm. 40, 50 mile per hour winds. We sat through it, toughed it out, and it was well worth the wait. About 7 o'clock this evening, we got on this bear while we were cooking dinner up on the knob. And luck has it, a couple good shots, and down goes the bear.
I don't know how to tell you all just how crazy